Now, Tesla's about 5 to 10 years ahead of everybody else, but it takes them that long to catch up. The problem with these poor buggers that are trying to compete against Tesla is that wherever Tesla is now, in 10 years, Tesla's going to be in another place.
According to the experts, when other companies do come here and look at that, they're kind of blown away with, oh my gosh, Tesla does this.
What you're seeing here is what I think is the most effective and efficient way of getting the job done. If I was going to design my own car, it would look just like that, or very similar to that. Now, Elon Musk is a genius when it comes to engineering.
Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Jonathan V and Sarah. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. First up, a note from Friday's video. I made an off-the-cuff comment saying how Tesla's potential new lithium refinery in Texas is a level of vertical integration that's unprecedented in the history of the auto industry. This really isn't that accurate. I really meant to say unprecedented in the modern day auto industry, because dating back to the 1930s, as you can see on the screen, Ford was actually doing some very impressive things with vertical integration of its own. So as always, thank you to everybody who called me out on that one. Here we have an update from Drive Tesla Canada reporting that Giga Berlin's third shift has now been pushed back to January 2023. Previously, we were expecting it to happen by the end of this year. Elon also said on the Q2 call that Giga Berlin was hoping to produce 5,000 Model Ys per week by the end of the year. That also seems to have been pushed back to sometime in Q1 of 2023. Right now, Giga Berlin is producing around 1,000 to 1,500 Model Ys per week, operating on 2 shifts from 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. That third shift should take the factory to 24 hours. Next, we have Elon saying last week he's putting a lot of time personally into advancing Tesla service to make it awesome. Hopefully, this is starting to be felt by Tesla owners. On Friday, he said Tesla North America aiming for over 50% same hour service. Bennett replied to Elon mentioning how too many Tesla customers are receiving their cars back after a service appointment with new damage that wasn't there before. Elon said, please let me know when that happens. Presumably expecting people to do this on Twitter, which definitely is not an ideal forum for this. Tesla really should have its own forum on the website where people can go to explain these situations in a more organized fashion, where Elon will actually have a much better chance of seeing them. Elon was also asked about increasing the mobile fleet in Australia, to which he said absolutely, the Tesla fleet in Australia is growing rapidly, so we do need to ramp up service in general. Shifting to FSD Beta 10.69.2, it did start rolling out yesterday on Sunday. Elon said, please note, top priority is safety. Expect it to be overly cautious, especially around pedestrians. Looks good to roll out to all Tesla owners with 10.12.2, around 100,000 cars that are in the FSD beta. So everyone be on the lookout for 10.69.2. Previously, this was only available to around 10,000 users. This update will take it to 100,000, everybody in the current FSD beta. And remember, the next milestone by the end of this year, to release it to anybody who wants it in North America. Elon said real-world validation and billions of miles of real-world training are what will make FSD superhuman. In Master Plan Part 2, which was released in 2016, Tesla said, we expect that worldwide regulatory approval will require something on the order of 6 billion miles or 10 billion kilometers. And Elon reiterated that is probably the right order of magnitude. For context, from Tesla's Q2 update, they shared this chart, cumulative miles driven with FSD Beta in millions. So as of June this year, it just recently eclipsed 35 million miles. Going back to Tesla's Master Plan Part 2, they said current fleet learning is happening at just over 3 million miles per day, so I'm assuming this is referring to autopilot. So doing the math for Tesla's estimation of how many miles would need to be driven for global regulatory approval, taking that 6 billion divided by 3 million miles per day, once again, this was back in 2016, that's 2,000 divided by 365 days in a year, equals around 5.5 years. bringing us pretty close to today. Again, I'm not overly confident as to how these specific FSD Beta miles would factor into that overall figure of 6 billion miles needed. However, I thought the numbers were pretty interesting, and if Tesla does pull off this actual wide release to all of North America by the end of this year, this exponential curve should see a significant ramp toward the beginning of next year. On .69.2, I just wanted to share one anecdote from Chuck Cook's Left Turn, where as you can see, it's actually waiting for this car that's in his spot in the median. There were plenty of opportunities for this car to actually go. However, the Tesla waited for this car to depart and then finally pulled through. So it's not like it's just trying to get to the median at whatever cost. It's actually handling situations like that. Marcus did a good video on his recent VPP events that he participated in. Just wanted to highlight there were 10 events from August 17th to September 9th, totaling 26 hours of VPP events. During that time, his system sent back 297.1 kilowatt hours to the grid for $594 of compensation, which breaks down to around $60 per event, or roughly $20 an hour. He did say this is probably not sustainable given the heat waves and the frequency of these events not being the norm going forward, especially heading into cooler fall months, but it is a great proof of concept. Here we have Marco, the Tesla community's supercharger detective, finding the world's first known V4 supercharger set to come to Yuma County, Arizona. 40 stalls, 2 4,500 square foot solar arrays, and a megapack are planned for the site. Additionally, one of these 40 stalls will have a pull-through feature for Teslas carrying a trailer. There haven't been any confirmed specs for the new V4 superchargers as far as I can tell. However, we do know there will be no hole in the middle and the cable will attach to the outside. They'll look like Tesla's mega chargers for the Semi, but they'll be a little bit smaller. Looking at the blueprint, you have the trailer pull through right here, and then under these solar canopies in the middle, you have an additional 23 superchargers, plus an additional 16 down here, also under the solar canopy. And perhaps most crucially, don't forget these solar panels and megapacks, they're not just for aesthetics. These will help Tesla store free energy from the sun that over time will reduce the cost to Tesla to provide this electricity for Tesla owners charging their vehicles. With higher grid demand and electricity prices going up, these solar panels and megapacks are going to be very important for the future supercharging landscape. Quick update from Troy Tesla on expected Q3 deliveries. The number was 370,000 as of September 4th. I don't want to give the most recent expectations because those are still Patreon only. On this very simple chart, black are actuals and orange are estimates. So thus far in 2022, Tesla has delivered over 564,000 vehicles. Now, if we add in Troy's expectations for quarter 3, that would take us to 934,700 after quarter 3, once again with that expectation. So if that plays out, for Tesla to hit 1.5 million vehicles delivered this year, they would have to do over 565,000 in quarter 4. Right now, it does feel like a bit of a stretch. However, if things at Berlin and Austin go well, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, and it would be a huge win for Tesla given all of the challenges and headwinds faced this year. Next up from Drive Tesla Canada, Giga Berlin held a public information session this Sunday. About 500 people attended. There were 40 or so Tesla employees there with different stations covering all of these different topics highlighted in yellow. One of the highlights of this event, Tesla showed off a rail logistics plan, think trains, that would significantly reduce the amount of CO2 emitted when delivering new cars to customers and also when bringing in parts to the factory. This right here is pretty cool. So most of us have seen the trucks where Tesla loads around 8 or so cars on and then takes it to the delivery center. Well, now at Giga Berlin with this train system, each train will have the capacity for 250 cars and 10 trains will be leaving Giga Berlin per day. So that's 2,500 cars per day. This will have a 71% reduction in CO2 emissions per year. And of course, not only outbound, but from an inbound perspective, Giga Berlin will have 4 unloading tracks. Up to 12 trains could arrive at Giga Berlin per day. This would have a 53% reduction in CO2 emissions per year. Maybe it's just me, but it's all of these little things that go overlooked by the mainstream media that are huge reasons why I'm such a fan of Tesla. It's just constant innovation in every facet of the business to do the right thing and to be more efficient. Additionally, from this event on Sunday, GF for Tesla said output of the cell facility for 4680s will be 16 cells per second. You could have a lot of fun extrapolating this data. I'm not going to though, because this also seems like an estimate, and when it comes to 4680s, there are plenty of uncertainties, so just wanted to share it, take it for what you will. With that, just so I don't leave you hanging, this would be enough cells for 1 car per minute. There are 1,440 minutes in a day times 7 days a week. That would be about enough for 10,000 cars per week. Moving on, just a quick one here. Tesla now sending mobile notifications when the 12-volt battery needs replaced. Here we have Electric reporting that Tesla is now bringing back employees from service back to sales to help with, yes, an end of quarter delivery push. What happened though previously, Tesla actually sent some sales center workers to service to help with a service shortage. Now they're bringing those employees back to help with car deliveries. I'm sharing this though for this. Sources told Electric that Tesla is seeing a decent number of customers trying to delay their orders to 2023 in an attempt to have access to the new federal tax credit. Of course, it's anybody's guess what decent really means. However, zooming out, it honestly does not matter whether these cars are delivered this year or next year. They're going to be delivered, and yes, we all like tracking quarterly data and we want them to hit certain numbers for the year. Ultimately though, it will not matter. The demand is still there to a very large degree. I am a bit perplexed though as to why Tesla feels the need to do this end of quarter push, at least in the United States. The export situation in Shanghai and Europe is a little different, but just focusing on the States, Tesla is the largest automaker in the world. Their stock is not in danger. They're not like on the brink of collapse. They don't need to do this. They can smooth this out, and I think it would be more efficient for the customers and for the employees. But I would be curious, let me know what you guys think. One more from Electric. Sources are telling them starting last week, Tesla is now requiring every new solar roof project to include a Powerwall. Of course, this would enable more homes to be in the virtual power plant program in the future. However, forcing customers to buy a Powerwall obviously will be met with some level of backlash, but I understand what Tesla's trying to do. I was not able to find any data to back this up, but I think a majority of Tesla solar roof owners would indeed buy a Powerwall, but it's nice to not have to. Next up, this week, Jim Farley is going to be negotiating with Ford dealers to try to bring down the cost that customers are paying for Ford's EVs. Farley will try to convince these dealers to cut as much as $2,000 from the cost of delivering an EV to a customer. Earlier this year, Farley told analysts that Ford needs to cut costs by $2,000 per vehicle from selling and distribution costs to be competitive with Tesla. And he said about a third of those cost savings could come from Ford shipping the cars directly to the customer. Farley said that alone could be worth maybe $600 to $700 in their system. It looks like one of the main pushbacks from the dealers is how fast they're going to have to actually install these chargers at the dealerships, saying that in some cases they can cost up to $500,000. We're fairly confident superchargers cost in the neighborhood of $40,000 and some others could cost up to $200,000, but this $500,000 seems like it's definitely on the high end for any EV charging brand. Earlier this year, Farley did say, I see dealer margins still being very competitive, but they are going to shift. He added Ford's going to place more of an emphasis on selling products and services after the initial vehicle sale. Another quick note on Ford, they're now rolling out its hands-free driving system to the Lincoln Corsair, which does, yes, have a plug-in hybrid model. The 2023 Corsair will be the 6th vehicle in Ford's lineup to offer this system, but only the 2nd in the Lincoln lineup, joining the Navigator. This hands-free system is referred to as Active Glide for Lincoln and Blue Cruise for Ford. One more note for Ford, they have filed 19 different trademark applications for, yes, virtual cars and an NFT marketplace, basically giving Ford fans the ability to have this digital collection, whether it's Ford cars or artwork or whatever else, to own, sell, and trade. So I'm interested to see what this turns into. Next up, in case you travel with sleeping passengers often, you'll probably love this. Elon said, I guess we could make Joe mode quieter. Joe mode is just where the Tesla alerts are a little bit quieter. Here we have it being reported that Lucid is now producing between 40 and 50 cars per day, which would be in the neighborhood of 1,500 per month, a big step forward from where they were previously. This coming just after Lucid moved a significant proportion of its logistics operations in-house and implemented sweeping managerial restructuring, which we reported on last week, where there were a number of Lucid execs that have since left the company. This new rate of 40 to 50 cars per day would be up from around 5 to 15 previously, and the article did note, assuming 20 working days, this new rate would yield around 1,000 EVs per month. Next, GF for Tesla tweeted that Giga Berlin has bought this small firefighting robot. Now, hopefully, of course, Berlin doesn't ever have to use this, but I would love to see it in action. Of course, this would save people from having to go put out the fires themselves, as the robot should, in theory, be able to do that. Here we have Drive Tesla Canada reporting that in the latest software update 2022.24 in Europe, certain Model S and X owners have seen increased charging speed capability when using the CCS adapter, going from a cap of around 140 kilowatts previously, now to above 180 kilowatts. Last up for today, check out this positive headline about Tesla from Business Insider. These comments coming from Martin Vieca just earlier today. At a presentation at the Goldman Sachs Tech Conference in San Francisco. By the way, Mary Barra and some Cruise executives are also talking at this event, so we'll probably cover that in tomorrow's episode. Jumping down in the yellow, Martin said, "For the first time I can remember, we can access all the supply we need for both businesses," referring to automotive and energy. Tesla uses about 90% of its battery cell supply for its EVs and roughly 10% for its energy storage products. Martin said in recent years, Tesla has of course expanded its battery cell suppliers from just Panasonic to LG Chem, CATL, and potentially a few others. He said these manufacturers are building capacity super fast, and Martin predicted Tesla would add even more suppliers in the future. Of course, if this turns out to be true, this is awesome news, and it is still true that in 2023, Tesla will be reliant on 4680 production for the Cybertruck, the Semi, and maybe in 2024 for the Roadster as well. But for the rest of the product lineup, this is pretty huge news. Martin did say if the industry can 10x from here, then the supply chain will need to 10x as well. However, it's very encouraging that it seems like there is some progress in terms of more capacity being made. That'll do it for today. Please like the video if you did. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.